Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopi Sarvam Radha Gopi Janam Shri Radhe. Jaya Gita Gita Pavan Gaur Hari Jaya Gita Gita Pavan Gaur Hari. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Shri Prabhupada Ki. Joining at is not coming to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Agatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloki Bhaktir Bhagati Nishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 2, verse number 28. Bhagavad Dharaye Cha Ye Jatan Samanuvrata Pashandilaste Bhavantu Satshastra Paripantina Bhagavata Dharaye Cha Ye Jatan Samanuvrata Pashandilaste Bhavantu Satshastra Paripantina Bhagavata-dharaye cha ye cha tan samanuvrata Pashandinaste bhavantu Satshastra Paripantina Bhagavata-dharaye cha ye cha tan samanuvrata Pashandinaste bhavantu Satchastra Paripantina Bhagavata Dharaye Cha Ye Cha Tan Samanuvrata Pashandinaste Bhavantu Satchastra Paripantina. Synonyms: Bhagavrata Dhara, taking a vow to satisfy Lord Shiva. Ye, who, cha, and ye, who, cha, and tan, such principles. Samanuvrata, following. Pashandina, atheists. They, bhavantu, let them become. Sat Shastra Paripantina, diverted from transcendental scriptural injunctions. Translation: one who takes a vow to satisfy Lord Shiva or who follows such principles will certainly become an atheist and be diverted from transcendental scriptural injunctions. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. It is sometimes seen that devotees of Lord Shiva imitate the characteristics of Lord Shiva. For example, Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison. So some of the followers of Lord Shiva imitate him and try to take intoxicants like ganja, marijuana. Here, the curse is that if someone follows such principles, he must become an infidel and turn against the principles of Vedic regulation. It is said that such devotees of Lord Shiva will be such Shastra Paripantina, which means opposed to the conclusion of Shastra or scripture. This is confirmed in the Padma Puran also. Lord Shiva was ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to preach the impersonal or Mayavad philosophy for a particular purpose, just as Lord Buddha preached the philosophy of voidness for particular purposes mentioned in the Shastras. Sometimes it is necessary to preach a philosophical doctrine which is against the Vedic conclusion. In the Shiva Puran, it is stated that Lord Shiva said to Parvati that in Kali, in the body of a Brahmana, he would preach the Mayavad philosophy. Thus, it is generally found that the worshippers of Lord Shiva are Mayavadi followers. Lord Shiva himself says, Mayavadam Asat Shastra. Asat Shastra, as explained here, means the doctrine of Mayavad impersonalism or becoming one with the Supreme. Bhrigu Muni cursed that persons who worship Lord Shiva would become followers of this Mayavad Asat Shastra, which attempts to establish that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is impersonal. Besides that, among the worshippers of Lord Shiva, there is a section who lives a devilish life. Srimad Bhagavatam and Narad Pancharatra are authorized scriptures that are considered Sat Shastra or scriptures which lead one to the path of God realization. Asat Shastras are just the opposite. Let's take the blessings of Acharyas. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनधारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वर Sorry, because of not being able to set up the computer, it took longer to start the class. Please forgive me. So, of all the sacred Vaishnav literature, Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost. And this statement is emphasized by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Srimad Bhagavatam is Pramana Amala, spotless authority. So there is no doubt that what we are going to read is authority and it has no mistakes in it. And Rupa Goswami states that the five devotional activities, which is the prominent five devotional activities, which is Mathura Vas, which is residing in the Dham, or Shravanam of Srimad Bhagavatam, or serving devotees, Vaishnav Seva. And the fourth one is Nam Sankirtan. And which one did I miss? Mathura Vas. One I missed. Which one? Sadhu Sang. No, serving the devotees, I said, right? Murti Puja, worshipping the deity form of the Lord. These are such potent activities that if anyone has even a little attachment to even one of these, then it arises devotional ecstasy in even a neophyte devotee. So, with that statement in mind, I would like to beg prayers. I'm a neophyte devotee and I have no qualification and no realization of this Pramanam Amala. Srimad Bhagavatam, to be sitting here and speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, I have no qualification and no realization. But because I have been ordered, I'm going to try to speak and I seek your blessings and prayers that I'm able to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam appropriately for the purification of my own heart. Otherwise, there's no chance. As you know, Srimad Bhagavatam deals with 10 topics. In the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, a verse comes which is spoken by Shukdev Goswami. So Shukdev Goswami says, Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanamutaya manvantare shanu katha nirodho muktirashraya. So the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam start with Sarga, which is the universal creation by the Supreme Lord. Then comes Visarga, which is the secondary creation by Lord Brahma. Third comes Sthanam. Sthanam means positioning of living entities in various planetary systems. Fourth comes Poshanam. Poshan means giving protection, like the mother gives portion to the child, so she gives protection and nourishment. So, giving protection to all the devotees of the Lord. Then comes Puti, which is inclination to act. Manvantara, which is the reign of the Manus. Then Ishanu Katha, which is the stories of various incarnations of the Lord and his devotees. Then comes Nirodha, which is annihilation. Then Mukti, which is liberation. And finally, the 10th topic, which is most important, that is shelter of the Supreme Lord. So these are the 10 topics that are covered in Srimad Bhagavatam. And the purpose of the first 9 topics is to make us understand the 10th topic. Until and unless we understand these 9 topics, we will not be able to relish the Lord, which is the shelter of the Lord, which is, and the Lord's activities, the Lord's dealings with his devotees, which are described in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, all these aspects of knowledge, which are important for human civilization, they are summarized in these 10 topics and they are described at various levels in all throughout Srimad Bhagavatam. But specifically in specific cantos, there is description of these topics. So, like right now, we are dealing with the fourth canto. So, this fourth canto talks about the Visarga section, which is the secondary creation. So, what happens is at the end of Dwapar Yuga, when Lord Krishna he winded his pastimes and he from this mortal planet and he went back. With him also went back religiosity or dharma. So when religiosity or dharma went back, what happened? There was chaos. But our Lord is so merciful that He comes back in the form of Grantha Avatar, in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is why it is said, Sri Krishna Parivartate, right? And why does He come back? To show, that in this Kali Yuga, there is misdirected civilization. So the Lord, out of His causeless mercy, comes in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam, now that we know that Srimad Bhagavatam is nothing but the Lord Himself, then how many cantos are there in Srimad Bhagavatam? 12 cantos. So these 12 cantos represent the limbs of the Lord. Like the first and the second canto represent the lotus feet of the Lord. Then the third canto and the fourth canto represent the thighs of the Lord. Fifth canto represents the navel of the Lord. Sixth canto represents the chest of the Lord. Seventh and eighth represent the arms of the Lord. Ninth canto represents the throat of the Lord. 10th canto represents his lotus face. 11th canto represents his forehead. And 12th canto represents his head. Now, when we come in front of the Lord, like when we come in front of Shri Radha Gopi Janvala, do we directly look at the face of the Lord? No. We have been taught that we start from the feet of the Lord and gradually move up. So now that we have established that Srimad Bhagavatam is Granth Avatar, non-different from Krishna, then we are supposed to study Srimad Bhagavatam in this order. It has to be studied canto by canto. So many times, especially when we go for book distribution, people get bewildered. So many books, so many books. How will I read? There is no time to read. And somehow we have to tell them, we start with the first canto. We never say, okay, I'm going to give you the fourth canto or a full. Of course, we give the Krishna book because that is nice. But when somebody is taking the Bhagavatam set, we always tell them, you go in order. Because Srila Prabhupada has emphasized that this transcendental knowledge, it's not like any haphazard material book where you can skip and read. You should read verse by verse, chapter by chapter. Because only when we go chapter by chapter, when we reach up to the 9th chapter, then we move on to the 10th chapter. The 9 cantos. The first 9 cantos establish the greatness of the Lord. And the 10th canto establishes the sweetness of the Lord. So even in this material world, to appreciate someone's qualities, you have to first understand how great they are. Right? So that is why we read the first 9 cantos and then we move on to the 10th canto. Because if we directly jump onto the 10th canto, then the description of the Lord, his dealings with his devotees, we will consider as ordinary. But they are not ordinary because they are the Lord's dealings. So Srila Prabhupada has very clearly mentioned why it is important that we read in order. Yeah. So this in the third, fourth, and fifth cantos. We are right now in the fourth canto. The third, fourth, and fifth cantos deal with the dynasty of Manu. So, Manu's daughters, Devahuti, Prasuti, Akuti. So, Devahuti's story, Kapil Dev's story was in the third canto. In the fourth canto, there is description of Akuti and Prasuti, Uttanapad, son of Manu. And in the fifth canto, we will read about Priyavrat Maharaj. Now, this fourth canto, it is very, very rich. Why? Because it has stories of personalities like, and they're very inspiring and instructive stories of personalities who have perfected devotion, like Dhruva Maharaj, Lord Shiva, Mother Suniti, right? All these stories are there. And they are great examples in bhakti. At the same time, in this canto, there is also description of the mistakes of some of the personalities. So that's why fourth canto is very important. So, and we learn from mistakes, right? So what are the some of the personalities whose mistakes are being mentioned? Some of the personalities like Daksha Prajapati. Right now, the section that we are in, his mistake is being highlighted, right? Then there is the mistake of course, Mother Suruchi, because of that one mistake of hers, we got a great devotee, but that was a mistake. We learn from that mistake. Then King Vena, then Indra, all these, so many mistakes are being described, and we learn from those mistakes that what we should not do. Then going forward, there are also prayers, right? Prayers of Dhruva Maharaj. Actually, the whole Bhagavatam is comprised of so many prayers. So Dhruva Maharaj prayers are there, and the topmost essence of all the prayers is we need association of devotees to go forward in bhakti. So those prayers are being described. So now coming back to this verse and a little of this chapter, the name of the chapter is Daksha curses Lord Shiva. So in the beginning of this chapter, uh, Vidurji asks Maitreya Muni that how is it possible that Daksha Prajapati, who loved his daughter Mother Sati so much, hated Lord Shiva so much. Why was there such a lot of envy in his heart? Actually, if we read the verses, they are very painful. The description, the out of envy that Daksha talks towards Lord Shiva, it pains the heart. Normally, nobody talks like that. How can you talk to somebody like your eyes are, one line comes, your eyes are like monkey. Even in this material world, if you say to somebody like that, how, like that person will never look at you back again. And Lord Shiva does nothing. He just leaves the place. Then so much anger, so much envy. And on top of that, Daksha Prajapati says, listen to me. I am not speaking out of ignorance or envy. Eh, eh, Can you imagine, like, even after saying sentences like that, Daksha Prajapati says, I'm not speaking out of envy or ignorance. In reality, he is in complete ignorance and full of envy. So, a little background to what happens. Everybody, all the for the creation, all the demigods and everybody has gathered in a sacrificial arena to perform a sacrifice. And in that sacrificial arena, all the demigods, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they are all present. And Daksha Prajapati walks in. So he is the leader of Prajapatis, the progenitors, and his bodily effulgence is very bright, and he is the king. So he walks in, and because his bodily luster is so shining that there is complete light, and all the devtas and all the other people, they stand up in respect of Daksha Prajapati. But two people don't stand. One is Brahmaji and one is Lord Shiva. Brahmaji, Daksha Prajapati does not have a problem. At least that's mentioned that he does not have a problem because he's son of Brahmaji. So he's okay. But Daksha Prajapati, when he sits and when he enters, Brahmaji welcomes him, offers him a seat, and when he sits down, in his heart there is a lot of envy. How come Lord Shiva, not Lord Shiva, Shiva did not get up? How is it possible? Everybody got up. How did Shiva not get up? I am Daksha Prajapati. I am the king. But he did not get up. And on top of that, he is my son in law. So, as if being son in law means you have to get up. But of course, he is son in law, but he is also Lord Shiva. And what was Lord Shiva doing? He was meditating on the Supreme Lord. So, he was doing something higher. So, he was not bound to get up. But Daksha Prajapati is so arrogant and so envious. He feels, how can you not get up? And then in that arrogance and envy, he says this line that now listen, that I'm not speaking out of ignorance or envy, but he's speaking out of ignorance and envy. And then he speaks very badly. Shiva has spoiled the name and fame of the governors of the universe and all. He has already accepted himself as my subordinate by marrying my daughter. So somebody marries, somebody becomes a subordinate. That is all envy coming out, right? Then this is, I don't know how to say this statement. This was like unbelievable. He has eyes like a monkey, yet he has married my daughter, whose eyes are just like that, those of a deer cow. And Daksha Prajapati did not want to give his daughter's hand in marriage to Lord Shiva. But because Brahmaji tells him, he just does that. But he is not happy. He speaks about how Lord Shiva lives in filthy places, he is naked. But Lord Shiva, he has no attachment to any material things. So for him, these things are not important. But in his anger, in his envy, after saying all these things, Daksha Prajapati sells a curse. And he says that in the sacrificial arena, all the demigods, everybody can have a share of the oblations, but Lord Shiva cannot. Such an insult to Lord Shiva, but Lord Shiva is not bothered. He doesn't react, he just stays quiet. But who reacts on this curse? The servant of Lord Shiva, who is Nandi. So Nandishwar reacts. When Nandishwar hears and after saying this curse, Daksha Prajapati leaves the arena. He goes. Daksha Prajapati is gone after saying the curse, and after that, what is happening, he doesn't know. So see the reaction. Sometimes when I was reading this, we say something which has hurt someone, we might have left the place, but the repercussions stay for a very long time, and we don't even know what has happened. So Daksha Prajapati is gone, but now Nandi is cursing. Nandi says that Daksha is so much in his arrogance, in his envy. He is so much on the bodily platform. He is judging everyone by bodily features. He will get the face of a goat. So the point to understand here is Nandi is servant of Lord Shiva. So in one sense, there is a guru-shishya relationship. So the curse pronounced by Nandi in protection of his guru was correct. But Nandiji does not stop there. He further curses all the other people sitting there. And he says all the people who have supported, they will lose. The Brahmanas who have supported by not speaking anything when Daksha was saying so bad words towards Lord Shiva, they will be bereft of all transcendental knowledge. So when I was meditating on this point, I was thinking, love of God is very high. Before love of God, we need to get some knowledge to understand love of God, right? But that knowledge also, if Vaishnav Aparad has happened, that itself will not be given. Love of God is very far off. So when he curses, so one curse happened, then a counter curse by Nandi. Now the verse that we read is the third curse, which Bhrigu Muni gives. Bhrigu Muni says, all like what we read, right? All the followers of Lord Shiva, they would become atheistic, right? So, Srila Prabhupada mentions about Sat and Asat Shastra in this. So, I was just trying to contemplate that Such Shastras are, of course, what we know. Srimad Bhagavatam, Narad Panchratrika, that is all. But what is Asat Shastra? So in Bhagavad Gita, in the 16th chapter, a verse comes which says, Ya Shastra Vidhim Utsrajya Vartate Kamakarata Na Sasiddhim Avapnoti Na Sukham Na Param Gatim. So one who disregards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims, for him there is no perfection, no happiness, and definitely no supreme destination. So, Shastras, what Shastras talk about? What is the conclusion of Shastras? Shastras talk about Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna and service to Supreme Lord Krishna. That is the aim of Shastra. That is Vedanta. That is the end goal of Sat Shastra. Right? We are all part and parcel of Krishna. Mame Vanshu Jiva. This relationship that we have with the Supreme Lord, that is being described in the Shastras. How we are supposed to perform bhakti, that is being described in Shastra. Sat Shastra. But Asat Shastra, that is not the aim. In Asat Shastra, the aim diverts towards the center moves, the focus moves from the Lord to the self. Those are Asat Shastra. So, like this Mayavad has been described here. In they have a famous statement which is Shivoham, which means I am Lord Shiva. So now when they talk about can somebody become Lord Shiva? Is it that easy to become Lord Shiva? That is a famous verse, famous statement of Mayavad. And then Lord Shiva also, in this verse, Srila Prabhupada also talks about voidism, which is Buddhism. So one thing that we need to understand that Buddhism and Mayavad was established for a particular reason. So like in the beginning, when I said Lord Krishna left this mortal planet, then there was a lot of chaos. And what happened was there were no qualified brahmanas. Religiosity went, dharma went. So what people started doing, there was left and right animal killing happened. And Shastras, what people said, this is according to the Shastras. But actually, Shastras say you cannot take the life of a person until you can give it. So, according to Shastras, when you do animal sacrifice, it is for when the animal can be given a higher destination or a newer body. But that is done by the power of mantras, and those mantras will come by the power of qualified brahmanas. But there were no qualified brahmanas because when Lord Krishna left, that was the advent of Kali Yuga. There were no qualified brahmanas. So this animal killing was happening left and right, and people were eating killed animals, non-veg, and there was complete chaos. So I was reading, and there was a yeah there was one Prabhuji from Radha Gopinath temple. He has compiled a very nice description on Mayavad. And in that, he says that that time Lord comes as Buddha because he is an emergency incarnation. He says, like somebody's arms are broken and he's fractured, and you want him to do horse riding. How will he do? First, his arms have to become strong. So the whole society was in chaos. To bring the society to at least normal point, that's why Lord Buddha had to come. And what did Lord Buddha preach? Ahimsa. Stop animal killing. So he purposely and avoided talking about the scriptures, purposely avoided talking about the Lord. Because to talk about the Lord, it has to come from the scriptures. But people are saying scriptures are the reason for animal killing. To bring an end to that, Lord Buddha had to incarnate. And Buddha propagated voidism because stop this animal killing. So stop and meditate. So that put brakes on what was happening. The brakes are put now. That problem was solved. The Lord Himself comes as Lord Buddha and solves that problem for that time. But then, second problem arose. Everybody started following Buddhism. So nobody wants to work, everybody is meditating. So that created second problem. Now, for that problem to be solved, again the Lord. Now, here we need to understand that whenever the Lord does execute a plan, he has to have his empowered people, empowered devotees, right? Even for normal projects also, when any project has to be completed, there's the top lead and then there are project heads, right? So project leads, and they report to the CEO. So Lord Krishna, he took the support of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva comes as Shankaracharya to propagate the philosophy of Mayavad. Why? Because brakes were put for animal killing, right? But now they had to take a U-turn, because to stop animal killing, people had forgotten, completely rejected Vedic literatures. Now, to bring back Vedic literatures, the Lord had to do something. So that's why Shankaracharya comes. And Shankaracharya is none other than Lord Shiva. And again, Shankaracharya's job, according to time, place, and circumstance at that time, was to re-establish the Vedas. Okay, but remember how the people were. People were completely in asat. Me, mine, I. Right? There was no authority of the Lord. So, if that time Shankaracharya propagated that devotional service is the supreme and Lord Krishna is the supreme, people would just reject him. So, his the reason why he was there to do a U-turn and establish Vedas would be futile, right? So now to do that, what did Shankaracharya propagate? Shankaracharya propagated Mayavad, which is I am God, you are God, everybody is God. Right? Because you cannot accept God. How can somebody accept God when they have rejected God? Right? Rejection of God came from Buddhism. That was for a reason. But now to bring back God, they are not ready. The mind is not ready. See, even our Srila Prabhupada, he talks so nicely of time, place, and circumstance. Like one time, devotees asked Srila Prabhupada, right? When Prabhupada came to US, Prabhupada, what does spiritual world look like? As Prabhupada would have explained, spiritual world is like the rays of the sun, and there is utter happiness, and people are always serving the Lord, and there is no ego, and there is no me in there. They would not understand. What did they relate to? They were all high on all these substances, right? So Srila Prabhupada says, spiritual world is like an ocean of LSD, and they understood. So now imagine Srila Prabhupada, who has given us 4 regulative principles to explain spiritual world according to time, place, and circumstance, talks about spiritual, comparing. The analogy is like LSD. Doesn't mean spiritual world is an ocean of LSD. But for those people, that was up to what they can go. So these people in at that time could only relate up to the point that I am God, you are God, everybody is God. That is not the supreme. So I was just thinking that was according to time, place, and circumstance. Like somebody, maybe 50, 60, 70 years back, was driving a bicycle to go from place A to B. Does that mean after 90, 100 years also you will use the bicycle? Why will you use the bicycle? You have bikes, right? So you will use the bike. So at that point of time, that was okay. But what happened was people are still stuck into this Mayavad philosophy. They do not want to accept that how is it possible that Lord and Jiva can be one? This is absolutely bogus. It is impossible. Even if we see from our material eyes, even if people want to say that Krishna did this, Krishna did that, Krishna played with the gopis. Krishna stole, this is very common, Krishna stole the clothes of the gopis. Why? Because there is no knowledge. Krishna also lifted the Govardhan. Krishna also killed Kaliya. Krishna also did so many other things. Can you do that? No. But just because I want to prove my point, because it is convenient to me. So that is why people are stuck in this Mayavad philosophy. In fact, I was just reading that Shankaracharya composed many hymns, and we are in this time of the year where we are doing so many Rath Yatras. Jagannath Ashtakam has been composed by Shankaracharya. So he was there for a reason, but continuing on with that, there's no point. And what? So thinking that Lord Shiva, I am Lord Shiva, Shivoham, those people who talk about it, that is a major misconception. So, as Vaishnavas, do we not worship Lord Shiva? We worship Lord Shiva in the right mindset. That Vaishnavanam Yathasham, the topmost Vaishnava is Lord Shiva. Actually, this whole episode, one point that strikingly came to my mind was many times we have heard that Vaishnava Aparadh is mad elephant offense. So I used to think like, why is it given mad elephant offense? So mentally, you can imagine, an elephant who has gone mad, he will go here and there, pull the trees and everything. But when we read all these verses, the picture that comes in our mind is actually like Daksha Prajapati walking in that arena doing mad elephant offense because of envy, because of arrogance. So, Yugal Kishore Prabhuji always talks about whenever there is a problem between two devotees, one or both of them want something other than Krishna. So, the learning from this whole episode is if we focus our attention from the Lord to the self, then this mad elephant offense is bound to happen. There is no way it will not happen. If the focus is on the Lord, then there is a chance, probability that he can avoid this mistake. So I think the time is already 9:13. Today is also the disappearance day of Srivas Thakur. So I don't think we have time, so maybe. So we all know Srivas Thakur is the Panchatattva, right? जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद. Again, the Panchatattva mantra is Panchatattvatmakam Krishna Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So, I pay my obeisances to Lord Krishna and to the Bhakta Rupam, which is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhakta Swarupam, which is Nityanand Prabhu, Bhaktavataram, which is Gadadhar Pandit, Bhaktakyam, which is Srivas Pandit, and Bhakta Shakti, which is Gadadhar Pandit. So the potency. So Srivas Pandit, he like Krishna was born in Mathura, but his most intimate pastimes happened in Vrindavan. Same way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born in Jagannath Mishra's house, but his most intimate pastimes happened in Srivas Thakur's house, the Srivas Angan, where he performed Sankirtan movement. So Srivas Thakur, see, Srivas Thakur is so great, and the Lord loves Srivas Thakur so much. Once this happens that when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he became a scholar, he was purposely acting as very arrogant after getting all the scholarly ability and after reading everything. So he was acting arrogant. So one day he was walking and Srivas Thakur was coming from front. So he stops Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and says, what is the purpose of studies? Why have you studied so much? The purpose of studies is to bring us closer to Supreme Lord Krishna. If you are not doing that, then everything else is just an endeavor. It's a waste. When Nimai Pandit heard that, he said, okay, he laughed and he said, okay, if you so desire, by your blessings, it will happen. And after a few days, Nimai Pandit goes to Gaya, takes initiation from Ishwar Puri, and becomes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is the love and power of Srivas Pandit, Srivas Thakur. And we all know his devotion towards, love and devotion towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one night when the Sankirtan was happening in Srivas Angan, Srivas Thakur's son dies. And all the ladies, including Mother Malini, the mother of this boy, starts crying. So Srivas Thakur comes inside and he says, why are you all crying? So they tell the boy has died. So Srivas Thakur says, don't make noise. If you want to cry, cry softly. Because your crying is going to disturb Mahaprabhu. Can somebody that that much dedication and love you have towards Mahaprabhu? So Mahaprabhu, when he was doing Sankirtan, he felt something was missing. So when the Sankirtan ended, he asked, I didn't feel that ecstasy. Has something inauspicious happened in the house? So the people informed, yes, Mahaprabhu, his Srivas Thakur's son died. He said, why did you not tell me? So the people said, because Srivas Thakur said, it will disturb your meditation. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, where can I go leaving a person like Srivas Thakur? So the love that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has towards Srivas Thakur is amazing. So we should all seek blessings from Srivas Thakur today, that we can also develop that love towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and go forward in our bhakti with the same dedication and with the same devotion that we have. And from the episode of Daksha, the two lessons that I was trying to learn for myself was avoiding Vaishnava Aparadh by keeping the Lord in the center. And the second thing was praying to the Lord, that my Lord, we pray to the demigods in their position. And the only prayer that we ask for, my Lord, please engage me in your service so that I can serve you. That's all. If that prayer is fulfilled, our existence is fulfilled. So we should all, I should pray for that, and I seek your prayers that please, when you go in front of the deities, please pray for me that I become sincere in my devotional services and practice. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Prabhuji, any corrections, comments? Questions, no comments or corrections. Questions, I'm not qualified. It's done now. Still on?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
No. Zoom workplace. It's gone, Prabhuji.
Can you hear me, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
It's ended.
Okay, but then you are the host, Mataji. Then you should end. Close from here. Yeah, close it.